guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is so great to have you guys back once again for another video. So today is going to be the continuation of our story time, telling the story of how we met.
Final chapter. This is it.
If you are new here, please do me a huge favor and click that red subscribe button. Join the family. We would absolutely love to have you here. And if you are a returning subscriber, I want to thank you so much for all the love and support that you've been showing to my channel. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. Alright, so we started, well, where we left off is that we've been talking about how we were on our very first date, and we were in the car, and he was taking me to the last location for the date, or for the night. And he just told me to just trust him, and like, cause I was asking like, okay, like where are we going next or whatever. So we ride in the car, and then all of a sudden I started to notice that the location looks very familiar. I don't know if we told this in the last video or not, but he took me back to my church, back to Mount Canaan, to the very spot where he had first pulled me to the side and talked to me and kind of gave me some encouraging words, and I kind of noticed that he had a thing for me. You wanna?
So yes, I took her back to the spot in Mount Canaan, where we first had our first kind of conversation. I know there might be people like, why would you go back there? It was just the first place that I laid eyes on her as a person that I was interested in. We sat in the car, and I just right in that same spot, I was like, hey, you know where this spot was? And she was like, what'd you say?
Yeah. I said, yeah, that was
said, yeah, but
and you was like, I think you said, you know, the reason why I brought you here. And I was like, no. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was like, I didn't think I was gonna ask this tonight, but
yeah, I didn't. So I asked her that night to be my lady, and of course she said yes. And so she said yes, and you know, it was really cold that night. It was really cold. That's really, I remember, that's a lot of what I remember that night. It was so cold. But we had a really good day. We went to Buffalo Wild Wings. We went to the dog track to see the Christmas lights. A best friend of mine named Caleb Broadnax, we were talking about relationships, and I asked him like, well, how long was it before you got a relationship with your lady? He was like, oh, I mean, the first date I asked her. And then he was like, after the first date, 3 to 4 months later, they got engaged. And so he was like, go ask her to be your lady. What you waiting on? You know, and I was like, okay. So I did. You know, I took that big leap, because normally I'm kind of traditional and I'm not gonna say slow moving, but I think a whole lot before I make decisions sometimes. And so this was kind of one of those like off the hip kind of situations where I didn't really expect that to happen that night, but it did.
So for me, I've not had a lot of experience with relationships prior to him. So, you know, that was huge for me. And also to be asked to, you know, be his girlfriend, well, to be his lady. I thought that was really cute the way he put it. But on the first date, like, that's kind of big. But what made me go ahead and say yes was because of the fact that I felt like this peace just fell over me. And the peace that I felt, like, it overpowered any feelings of not being sure if this was a good idea or not. There was literally like this quiet voice that I heard that said, go for it, say yes, like he is the one, like, you know. And so yeah, next thing you know, I just was like, yeah. And he was so shocked, I'll never forget it. He was just kind of like, wait, like I was not expecting a response. He was like, really? And I was like, yeah. He was like, seriously? And I was like, yes. So yeah, that was that. And then he was like, okay, like, you know. So he was just grinning, you know, cheesing from ear to ear. And so we left and we went home, and yeah, well, not went home, but he took me home. So once he dropped me off at home, he opens my door and he walks me to my front door of my house. And I noticed how, I think he just gave me a hug, and that was it. And like he left, and like he didn't try to kiss me. And I didn't mention this before, but God knew that I paid really close attention to how a man treated me and how they acted towards me when it comes to the physical aspect. And the fact that he was someone like that. Basically, that spoke volumes to me. The fact that he didn't try to kiss me on that first date like that, and he really took his time, and he wasn't in a hurry to get physical. That was definitely just another sign for me that I had made the right decision by saying yes to be with him. And he actually didn't kiss me until about 3 weeks into the relationship, which was also huge. You were trying to respect me, basically.
Yeah, I was basically being a gentleman. I believe that, you know, when you're a gentleman, it pays off. But also I think that, you know, if you want to get different results, you have to do things differently. And in this relationship, I didn't want to rush things with physical or emotions. I wanted to build it, you know, its building block. And see where things went from there. I didn't want to rush it. You know,
yeah.
That was my take on it, you know. Valentine's Day passed, then my birthday passed, and then came around about April-ish. And I remember going home and telling my mom, like, hey, I think I want to marry Jasmine. And she was like, whoa, you know, you taking me too fast, son. Slow me down. And so I was like, I know, Mom, but I think I found the one. I think she's it, you know. And she was like, okay. And we went and we actually went ring shopping and found rings. And this was actually before Valentine's Day. I had already been paying on a ring for like 2 or 3 months.
I remember how nervous he used to seem during that time. Like when we would actually go on dates after he was like actually looking at rings and stuff. He was so different. You could tell he was like had a lot on his mind, and that he was trying not to like slip up and talk about it. Yeah.
So it was different. It was like I was transitioning from this boy role to a like grown man. Like, you know, you paying on wedding bands and wedding rings and talking about getting married, having a family. You know, a blended family at that. You know, and so it was. Very interesting. It was a very interesting time in our relationship because before we got engaged, at the time, Jasmine's grandmother / co-pastor was saying that, hey, you know, before you get engaged, we want you guys to go through some form of marriage counseling. So basically, her words were, you don't want to go through, you know, you don't want to spend all of this money on a ring, spend all this money on a wedding, and you get halfway through your marriage counseling and realize that this is not something you want to proceed with.
She suggested that we do it before getting engaged, which is like
it was a great idea. We started actually probably about 6 weeks before we got engaged. And
you know, mind you, this is something that we've been talking about. I don't know that I'm getting engaged soon, but this is something that he's just like presenting the idea. We knew we wanted to be together after a few months of dating. Like we knew that we loved each other and that this is something that we wanted to plan for soon. So it wasn't something that was like super crazy or unusual for him to bring up us going ahead and starting the marriage counseling ahead of time, because I knew that that was like coming, I guess, around the corner, if you will, at some point.
Everything was still clueless. Jasmine had no idea. Basically, we just proceeded with life as normal besides going to marriage counseling. And our marriage counselor was Dr. Larry Dozier, and he was phenomenal. Matter of fact, we had marriage counseling from March or April-ish, mid-April, all the way until November. And it was some of the most, of course, challenging times, because whenever you're in marriage counseling, of course, you're having tough conversations of your viewpoints and their viewpoints, and how does this coincide together, things of that nature. And so it was challenging, but it was extremely rewarding.
So while in counseling, we basically began to realize that we were in fairy tale land. We had the googly eyes for each other, and you know, it just kind of, you go through like this crushing, and he pulls out all of the dirt and all of the hard conversations and the different things that you have to talk about, and it can either make or break a relationship, really. And it was a lot of days where it kind of revealed some things that, it challenged me and Hearts. That kind of, we went
I would just say we butt heads because it taught us to communicate and not just say like, oh, you're doing this and it's bothering me. It was
or sweeping things under the rug. Like it really teaches you to communicate with each other and how to just really be healthy overall, or have a healthy relationship overall. And it was hard, but we stuck in there, and I believe that we're stronger and we're better because of it.
What it did was it gave us preparation for when we got married. You know, it basically went ahead. It was like we had conversations then of expectations of
before
this.
Because let me tell y'all, any issues that you have while in that relationship does not get better just because you get married. Anything that you have going on is only magnified after.
I was going to say, that's the words of my mama. She said, baby, marriage, it just magnifies whatever problem you have.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he was extremely well, and so we had that opportunity. We got engaged June 1st and on Morris Avenue. It's kind of like a greenery wall. Jazz always wanted to have her family there for her proposal, and we had family and friends there.
It was so cute how he did it though. He basically presented it to me as just a random photo shoot. I don't know, I think you just said you wanted to get dressed up and us go out and take pictures, you know, during the summertime or whatever. And so, oh yeah, no. You said that you had gotten Black Couples Revolution.
We were gonna be on like featured on their page, and so we had to have photo shoot together.
And so I was like, oh, okay, cool, like, you know, good idea.
Funny story is, I actually was able to get us featured on the page. So it was like I didn't lie, but I got it there.
So he brought me out there, and you know, we're taking pictures and everything, and then all of a sudden, while I'm turned around, all of our family who was hiding like not on the next street, but they were behind behind like the walls and stuff, they come walking out, and then I turn around and I see everybody, and I just start bawling because I instantly knew like what was going on. I knew what was happening.
So and that's you know, kind of how we got engaged.
So something that really stood out to me about Karis was the fact that he was super intentional from the jump, like from day one. Literally the whole time that we've been together, I would see this consistency of intentionality with him. And it was so cute too, because during the talking stage, we were just talking and not actually in a solidified relationship, he would say things on the phone like, oh Jazz, you gonna be my girl, like you gonna be my girl. And you know, at that time, because I had been hurt, you know, a few times prior to him, I kind of roll my eyes like, yeah, whatever, like we'll see. Because, you know, I know that I've not always been so quick to just, you know, being with the guy. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, we're gonna see what you do different, like if you really gonna make it in. So as time went on, and we actually did become his girl, and we're in a relationship, and then he started to say things like, you're gonna be my wife, you're gonna be my wife.
I am going to marry you one day, okay? We're gonna get married. You stuck, okay? You get that? What time is it?
It is. What time is it?
What time?
I don't know. We need
It is 9:51, January 16th. I am telling y'all that I'm going to marry this woman.
What's the year?
2019. I'm going to marry her. She will be Mrs. HDM II by
Amen. I received it.
2020 or 2021.
What you have to say about that?
And I became his wife.
I think it scared her because everything I said we were gonna do, it happened.
Right, he did.
You know, there's actually one thing that I've said we were gonna do that I have not done, and she still to this day will hold me to it, is the fact that I have not bought her a vanity. You know, and so she will always say,
a new vanity, because I have one.
Vanity, and I ain't got my vanity, you know, and so that's her.
Yeah.
That's kind of what she's basically saying, is that I've always spoken whatever was gonna happen.
And it always happened.
You know, I think that what we have learned in our How We Met story is that consistency pays off, you know, and intentionality pays off. And I think that because at that point, I think we went through, that's when COVID popped up. I got COVID in June. We got married at September 20th. I was at home sick with COVID for 2 months. I was just chilling. And Jazz, we used to have these dates where she would come to the porch and where she'd sit in the car and I'd be in the porch, and she'd bring my food and sit on the steps, and
like we're like super far away. I might, if I still have a photo, I might insert it. But we're like super far away from each other. But at that time, it felt
like
the closest.
90 degrees outside. It was so hot.
Yeah,
you know, like it was.
But it was worth
sit
it.
for like 2-3 hours outside.
When you love somebody, you do some crazy things. So.
But it was interesting because it was molding the bond that we, you know, were nurturing. It was a very interesting time because at that point we had to reschedule like 3 times.
Several times.
And then we cut a guest list from 200 people all the way down to like 80. You know, but it turned into a, it was a very beautiful ceremony. Gonna drop the video right here above our heads, you know, if you want to go look at our wedding video. But once we finally got to the marriage counseling, and it calls for a growth to propel in both of us, and we started to understand like he's here to help us and we're here to help each other, and it's not that we're on 2 separate teams. You know, we were able to manifest, you know, what you see today. You know, now this is not perfection. Of course, we have arguments like everybody else. Of course, you know, we get frustrated with with each other like everybody else. You know, but I think we, the one thing we do have is learning how to have active listening. You know, and that was one of
and work through it.
Yeah, that's our story. You know, of triumph, victory. We made it through the relationship, the dating, the engaged, you know, now we're married, and now, you know, we were blessed. So
I know somebody's gonna ask, we dated for how long? 6 months before we got engaged?
December to June.
Right. So
people probably wonder why we got engaged so fast. But it was because the joke I always told my mama was, well, mama, she told me she's not gonna be waiting on me forever to get married. You know, so I felt like, okay, well, if this is what I desire, this is what I want, then I need to hop on the wagon and join it.
And it wasn't like a rush thing. I think it's just kind of like, if you have a peace with God, you prayed about it, and you know this is what you, then go for it.
Yeah, that's basically how our conversation went.
In a sense.
You know, and here we are today. This is how we met. We got married, you know, we had our dream wedding. This is our story, and you know, we sticking to it. You know, we're holding the glue down, and we are just excited for what it is that God has planned for us. And
we're actually almost gonna be 2 years old.
2 years old in September.
And it's coming up really fast, and it's so crazy. But God has been good. He's been faithful. And so we got married, and the rest is history. So that is the story of how we met. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please do not forget to like this video, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. We love you guys so much. Don't we love them?
We do.
So yes, we will be doing a Q&A now that we've wrapped up the series.
We would love to hear your questions, hear your feedback, and we would love to answer those for y'all. But of course, as always, it is our pleasure to bring you into our home and for us to come into your home via video. Be sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe to this video. And we look forward to seeing you guys again.
Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.